Hi VC, so here is part 2 of my countdown of my top 20 used vinyl purchases of 2024. If you haven't watched the first part, go back and do that first. Otherwise, settle in, enjoy numbers 10 down to 1. Number 10, pretty sure I've shown this before. This was a replacement for a reissue that I had, which was fine. But when I saw an original, or at least a very early second pressing, had to pick it up. Budge's debut album from 1971. What a great year for music that was. Won't say too much about this because, like I said, I've talked about it before. It has a real mix of things like the almost psych folk of Everything in My Heart, coupled with the Sabbath style bludgeon of Nude Disintegrating Parachute Woman and Homicidal Suicidal. Brilliant album. One of Wales's best ever bands. Budgie at number 10. Straight on to number 9. Thin Lizzy's self-titled. Again, I've shown this. Also from 1971. Brilliant, yeah. Got this for 15 quid from a record fair. Plays like an absolute dream. Some creasing and scuffing to the sleeve. Who cares? Brilliant album. This is a first pressing. I love this record. Ray Gunn has some real wah-wah funk to it. Look What the Wind Blew In has that kind of Phil Lynott swagger that became sort of a mainstay of his whole shtick as his career went on. But on this album, there's that mix of sort of vulnerability and swagger, and I love it. Brilliant record. In at number 9. And at number 8, another one I've shown before, Blackbud, From the Sky. Again, love the artwork, front and back, and the inner sleeve. This was another one from my that Chiswick market stall. Paid £1 for this. It was £1 well spent. I had no idea what it was. The artwork drew me in. This came out in 2006. It's one that's for fans of Jeff Buckley and Radiohead. It has that kind of post-grunge, loud, quiet thing going on. Unlike a lot of albums, it actually improves as it goes on. Side 2 is amazing. Absolutely love it. The final track, Market Streets, has sort of shimmering cascades of guitar and Zeppelin-esque drums on it, combined with that Jeff Buckley style voice. Can't recommend this highly enough. So that's my number 8, Blackbud. Number 7 is one I featured in one of my recent videos about my trip to the Kempton Park Record Fair. Bluebell Wood by Big Sleep. This, I couldn't believe the price I got this for. 50 quid. Goes for a lot more, and particularly a record in this kind of condition. It is in great shape, sleeve and record. This came out in 1971, that year again, 1971. What was it about it? This band came out of the ashes of Eyes of Blue. It's somber, orchestrated prog with excellent guitar and organ and some really heavy passages. Check out the tracks. Where are we? Saint and Skeptic. Saint and Skeptic. Septic or Skeptic? Saint and Skeptic, which is a mix of orchestration and heavy wah-wah guitar. And the title track, 11.5-minute title track. Check that out. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Came out on the Pegasus label. I'll show you that in case you're not familiar with it. But you can see that's a really, really clean copy. So very pleased to have that. That's up there. Number 7 on the strength of the music. The bargain that represents everything. Great record. Number 6, I've also shown before, Sundowners, Cut the Master from 2017. This is kind of psych, shoegaze. It's a rather beautiful album. I've played this so much. I've streamed it in the car. Can't get enough of it. Definitely one for fans of Goat Susie and the Banshees to an extent, Rosalie Cunningham. There's a ton of fuzz on here. There's mellotron, female vocals, which are just haunting. Check out the track Before the Storm, which is dreamy, ethereal and heavy. Brilliant, brilliant album. I've yet to investigate their other records, but definitely something I'm going to be doing. So there you go. Sundowners at number 6. Number 5 is a record I've not shown before. Picked this up at a record store in East London a few months ago. And to be honest, this would be at number 1 if it was an original copy, but it is a reissue on the O Music label. This originally came out in 1970. This reissue was from 2011, I believe. And it's Banshee and Thinking. And this is their second album. Really interesting artwork there. I would love an original of this. Someday I'll get an original, but I paid 15 quid for a reissue. It sounds fantastic. They were a US East Coast band. Great vocal harmonies on here. Killer guitar. And energy by the ton. You know, this sounds like a band that was well rehearsed and had written good songs before it went in the studio, which isn't always the case for these early 70s sort of hard rock albums. And this is hard rock with acidic guitar and progressive moves. It reminds me at times of a band called Space Opera. If you don't know them, check them out. Another really good guitar band with a bit of a psych feel to their hard rock. What would I recommend on here? Probably check out 3/4 Song, the third track on the first side. Tricky time signature on that one. Searing lead guitar, funky drums, gorgeous vocal harmonies. Absolutely love it. And then Children of the Universe on the second side is a prog epic in 3 minutes. Absolutely amazing. The ideas they pack into it are out of this world. Like I say, would be number 1 if it's an original, or at least be vying for that number 1 spot. But hey, number 5 is not too shabby. Great album. Number 4, well deserves being in this list. It's an album I've been after for quite a time as well, and it is a tough one to track down. And I managed to get a copy online for 10 quid. I couldn't believe my luck. This is Leviathan Unleashed. Really nice artwork. Not the original artwork. There's a bit of a story with this album. And you'll see from that, it was one of those records released by Record Collector magazine. And they specialise in releasing albums which either never got a release or kind of sank without trace when they were released, and given them a worthy reissue. This was never released. The story of this is it was recorded in 1969. The band was originally called the Mike Stewart Span, and I have an album by them which is really good. It's kind of mod pop psych, I guess. Really well worth checking out. But when they got together to record this album, they got signed to Elektra. And at the time, I think there were only ever 2 British bands signed to Elektra. One was a incredible string band. I think the other one was a collection. So it was a big deal for a British band to get signed to the label by Jack Holtzman. So in 1969, they went into the recording studio to make this album. And I think it all went well. They released, I think, 3 singles prior to this. And once they'd released the album, I think Jack Holtzman just said, no, we're not going to put it out. So it just sat shelved. The band got dropped. And this didn't get released until 2012 when Record Collector put it out. This is... it's got quite a lot in common with The Who and The Move, I guess, but with a heavy bluesy psych feel to it as well, and some proto-prog ambition. It's a really, really good album, and I'm sure if it got a release, they would have really taken off. They were an album band, not a singles band. It's a bit confusing that as Mike Stewart's band, I think they were a little more chart friendly. And I think it was Elektra who suggested the name change to Leviathan because they saw them more as a progressive type heavy band. but then didn't really back the album. Strange situation. Check out The War Machine, superb track. World in My Head, which is kind of a mod psych number. An Evil Woman, yeah, another track called Evil Woman, but it's a great track. Really heavy blues, sort of a jam on that. So yeah, great album. I think it's limited to 750 copies. So this is copy number 470, so it's not an easy record to find. And I don't know why I managed to get it for that price, because it just doesn't go for that price. It's a double album, although the fourth side is taken up with one of those etchings, but I've done a really nice job of the etching, kind of reproducing some of the press releases and stuff that the band got back in the day. But yeah, Leviathan, well worth giving that a listen if you can. They're at number 4. Okay, top 3 time. Now, if you'd asked me when I first got this album whether it'd be at number 3, I'd have said no way. This is number 1 all the way. And to be honest, I'm still a bit torn up inside. Should this be number 1? Possibly. Great album. I've shown it before. Bull Angus's self-titled album from 1971 again. 1971. I can't say enough about this album. Great gatefold sleeve. I'm not sure I showed this picture of the band when I first showed this record, but check out this guy's hair. I mean, wow. Bands that look like that are always good. You know, if you've got the commitment to grow hair and facial hair like that, you're going to be good. So this is kick-ass US hard rock / sort of proto metal. The vocals are by a guy called Frankie Previtt, who ended up in the much lighter weight, more sort of AOR leaning Frankie and the Knockouts. Don't let that put you off. This is one for fans of Highway Robbery, Bang, Blood Rock, the James Gang, all those great 70s hard rock bands. Check out Uncle Dougie's Fun Bus Ride for the massed vocals on that and the funky groove. Brilliant, brilliant track. A Time Like Ours is rhythmically surprising for this kind of hard rock. Again, great harmonies and a beautiful crybaby guitar solo. Pot of Gold is all about the funk and those harmonies again. And CY takes it to a slightly different place because it's acoustic guitar and flute with Crosby, Stills and Nash harmonies. What an album. Great songwriting, great performances, and I bet they were killer live. I'd love to have seen this band live. Came out on the Mercury label. And this is again a pristine copy. So Bull Angus at number 3. Okay, number 2 is another heavy hitter. I previously had a reissue of this, but when I saw an original, near as damn it an original for a very reasonable price, I had to pick it up. Damnation of Adam Blessing. This came out originally in 1969. This is a 1970 repress, so it's pretty much, you know, it's as close as damn it to an original pressing. The band came out Cleveland, Ohio. This is punchy psychedelic hard rock. Love this record, really love it. I think it's a bit ahead of its time because 69 is a pretty heavy album, and I love that artwork. Highlights on here are many. Cookbook, which starts the album, purloins the riff from the Stones' Jumpin' Jack Flash and heavies it up. Then you get tracks like Dreams, which is dreamy, hard psych with a propulsive bass line, lush vocals, some acidic guitar and flute in there as well. Lonely has a beautiful vocal melody. It's a languid tune with, again, those great harmonies. Has a bebop jazz guitar interlude in there. And overall has a similar vibe to the track Living Loving Life by the Peanut Butter Conspiracy, if you're familiar with that. Great stuff. Great songwriting, brilliant performances. A real nice vibe to the whole album. So Damnation of Adam Blessing in at number 2. So what's number 1? Well, it's something I haven't shown before, so it's going to be a bit of a surprise to you. I'm surprised that it beat out Damnation of Adam Blessing and Bull Angus, but this is now I've been after for such a long time. Came out again in 1971. It only ever got a release, I think I'm right in saying, in Australia. Doesn't turn up for sale in this country. I'd never seen it for sale in this country, but when it did online and was at a reasonable price, still the most I've ever paid for a record, I think, but way under what it goes for, I had to jump on it, and I'm so glad I did. It's a double album by an Aussie band called Spectrum, and it's their Miles Ago album. I've got quite a lot to say about this album. It's a tough one to pin down musically, and it rewards repeated listenings. Some people don't have too many good things to say for it. A lot of what they say is along the lines of, typical double album would be a great single album. No, this is a great double album. I could compare this, I suppose, to the Pretty Things, their sort of Parachute era. Musically, it's got elements of that. But there's so much more going on. The vocals they're not very prog vocals. They almost got a hint of Ian Hunter to them. And musically, this is a sort of mashup of the Beatles, pop with jazz, some psych, blues, prog. But I guess because it comes across as a concept album, I'm not sure it is a concept, but that's how it feels. It makes sense for all those influences to come in, to take you on this journey. Highlights on here. Love's My Bag, which has a nice, almost medieval, wandering minstrel kind of groove to it, with some really tasty organ and nice jazz chords on there. Your Friend and Mine is darkly trippy with some really discordant organ chords, and beautiful ghostly backing vocals. It's a really unsettling track. I love it. The Sideways Saga, which I think is in 4 parts in fact, is another great track which starts side 3. And the third part, Do the Crab, just has some amazing organ on it. Need to check that out. Fly Without Its Wings is almost Pink Floyd-like. And then Miles Ago, the title track, features some really unsettling chords, ethereal voices, and just builds to a real massive climax. Is it a concept LP? I'm not sure. Is it a masterpiece? I'm definitely leaning in that direction. This really gets under your skin with repeated listens. So you can't cherry pick the tracks and, well, that's not prog because it's got this wandering minstrel bit in it, or it's not prog because it's too jazzy, or as a whole album, it really works and it needs repeated plays. There's something kind of cheery about the LP, but at the same time, it feels sinister and unsettling. And I love stuff like that chucks you in all sorts of directions and messes with your head. Brilliant album. Well worth picking up. Well worth what I paid for it. And I just need to try and find their first album now, which some people say is better. It's a single album. Will I like it as much? I don't know, but this album I absolutely love. So, Spectrum, Miles Ago, my number 1 used pickup of the year. And the other winner of the year is the year 1971, which produced some great music and features pretty heavily in this list. So, let me know what you think. Sorry this is such a long video. I'm just looking at it, clocking at 45 minutes or so. I'll edit it down. Hopefully it won't be that long. Comments below. Let me know what you think. Do like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.